Hello, this is Matthew at Technomicon Media, and today I'm going to be reviewing Dragonborn, which is the new DLC for Skyrim. So I wanted to start out by showing you guys the actual map for the new expansion, and this is the land of Solstheim. And what's interesting is that there wasn't an actual map in Dawnguard, so I thought it was cool to actually see a visual representation of the areas you're going to be exploring. So the first area that I thought was really cool in the new map is the Ash Waste, and primarily because it actually looks different than anything else in Skyrim. A lot of Solstheim is just sort of, highland forest areas, whereas the Ash Waste actually looks different. It looks completely unique to the expansion. And in the Ash Waste you encounter these ash spawns, and they're pretty cool because they drop a lot of ores of various types. It's pretty random, so you can get a lot of good blacksmithing supplies that way. So this is Tel Mithrin. This is one of the kind of quest hubs, and this is based on the Dunmer or Dark Elf architecture of planting these spores, and they sprout into these sort of type of mushroom housing. But where I'm taking you is sort of the mage's laboratory area, and what's cool is they have a new feature, and the new feature that I want to show here is the staff creation. And what it is it's an area that you unlock through some quests, and then you're able to actually make different types of staffs, which I thought was a cool new feature. Although I don't use staffs at all, when I do play a caster class I just cast spells, but I thought it was cool that they introduced the mechanic, and the quests associated to them are pretty fun. So there you go there. And here we have Raven Rock, which is the main quest hub. This really is the first place you arrive at when you come to the new territory. You have to come by boat, and then of course you can quick travel around. Here's Glover Malroy, and he's actually the brother of the Thieves Guild, Delvin Malroy. So you get a nice tie-in with Thieves Guild by coming to this area and doing some quests and whatnot. So this is the new architecture of Raven Rock. It's all kind of occupied by Dark Elves. There's sort of like an East Empire Company mining operation that was abandoned, and then the Dark Elves sort of took over. And another cool thing is you get player housing, which it has an achievement associated with it. So once you do enough quests in Raven Rock, this kind of unlocks, and then you have this keep that you can store stuff in. The one thing that I didn't like about it is, even though the place comes furnished, there's no sort of way like with the other player housing to expand the furnishings and make it feel more kind of alive and personal. But it comes with all the usual stuff, an enchanting table and an alchemy station and weapon racks and mannequins and chests and display cases and whatnot. So I thought that was pretty cool. Of course, a bed. So another location which is important in the storyline of Dragonborn is the Skull Village, and it has sort of these Nordic inhabitants that have sort of branched off culturally from the rest of Skyrim, and they've developed their own culture, and they have kind of their own type of alpine architecture. At least that's the way I interpret it. And they have their own style of clothing, which I always geek out on that kind of stuff. So I really wanted to spend a great deal of time talking about the realm of Hermaeus Mora, and because it's such a pivotal component of the story of Dragonborn, as well as really speaking to me, being a fan of H.P. Lovecraft and knowing the similarities between Hermaeus Mora, Yog-Sothoth, as well as these creatures that I'm fighting currently and their relationship to Cthulhu, really spoke to me. And it isn't a criticism, because I think there's certainly much worse things you can base this ethereal realm, this astral plane of a Daedric Lord on. So the Black Books are really, really important in the Dragonborn DLC. They teach the Dragonborn new words of shouts, words of power that will eventually help the Dragonborn usurp the main villain, as well as giving the player a way to really customize the gameplay in a way that isn't just boosting stats. It actually changes your attacks sometimes, or gives you flexibility in your skill point allocation, or being able to summon new types of functionality. You know, you can summon Daedric merchants, or Dremora merchants, I should say, or vendors and whatnot. So here we have a really cool element that you gain later on in the expansion, way later on. I don't want to spoil it, but this allows you to basically retrain your skill points. And this, I felt, was really based on a lot of the player-driven community of modding, and I feel like a lot of the new functionality in all the expansions sort of derives based on what the players are putting out there. And then in some respects, like this one, Bethesda, you know, took this and actually implemented it into the game, which I thought was awesome. So I'm just showing you guys more of the realm. You can see these floating sort of tendril beasts, and the realm has a very kind of eerie, sickly, poisonous sort of atmosphere to it. So finally, there's dragon riding, and which is based on this bend will word of power. And the way it works is that when you're attacked by a dragon, when they're in range, you can shout at them with this word, and they'll land and become, you know, not aggressive, and then you can fly on them. I have a couple criticisms. You know, the minor criticism is just the functionality of flying the dragon. It feels a little weird. It's not really as responsive as you think, and you certainly can't control it the way you run around or swim or whatnot. It's pretty limited there. My actual real criticism is that it's not really necessary in the game. Like, there's nothing that you need to do that requires you having this ability, and that was my kind of main fault, is that I wish they would put in content that required this ability, like high mountainous areas that you can only get to by flying on dragons, or different kind of planes of existence that would require that. And once again, this is Matthew for Technomicon Media, thanking you for watching, and for the full article, visit us at www.technomicon.com.